Hello, and welcome to the Yukon Entrepreneur podcast series, a series all about how Yukon entrepreneurs are adapting their business models during the COVID-19 pandemic. My name is Carrie, your host, and I'm recording today on the traditional territory of Champagne and Ajax First Nations. And I'm joined today with Mark. Mark, please introduce yourself.
Yeah, my name is Mark Wykes. I own and operate Your Independent Grocer store here in Whitehorse. That's pretty much it. Long time Yukoner.
Thanks, Mark. And how long have you been operating the grocery store?
I've been running it for about, this particular store, the Your Independent Grocer, for 7 years now, just over 7 years. And I had the Extra Foods franchise prior to that for 10 years in the same location. So, yeah.
Right. And thank you for coming back. You were one of our participants in season 1, so welcome back.
Yeah, lots of time has passed. Yeah,
I know, right? Time feels like fast and slow all at the same time in this day and age. Mark, what's your first memory of the pandemic? When did you realize that this was going to be a thing?
Yeah, it's interesting that we definitely saw it happening outside in different parts of the world and other parts of Canada before we noticed it here. I didn't know that it was really going to be a pandemic, but I did see the hoarding, the grocery stores going empty in town was probably the first indicator. Although we didn't have any cases in town or anything like that, we definitely saw a reaction from the community to what was happening in different parts of Canada and definitely in other parts of the world. So early on, I mean, it happened in January. I think we first found out stuff was happening overseas, and other parts of Canada probably saw it quite a few weeks before us, maybe 3. And then, it crept into our own territory, which was a little surprising. But boy, oh boy, it did happen, and it never stepped back from that.
Gosh, it really does seem like a distant memory now, the toilet paper craze and all of the hoarding. I've kind of forgotten about that, but that was probably that was a big deal for you.
Yes.
Mark, what have you learned about your business model over the last 2 years?
Well, it works, so we've remained open. We've been selling groceries the whole time. We did not close down, with the exception of Easter Sunday in 2020, which was kind of nice to be closed for a day. But that was just out of giving the staff an opportunity to spend time with their families. That was early on in the pandemic. But since then, we've sustained all kinds of different challenges. And come out, still selling groceries. So it's been, the business works. The business works.
And what are you learning about your customer?
They're very understanding, which is good. They're appreciative, which is also really good. It's nice to hear some positive feedback when we don't feel the best about what we're doing to serve the community for many different reasons. We may not provide the same service level pre-pandemic in some areas, but yet the customers are still appreciative that we've stayed open, that we've continued to do our very best to get groceries on the shelves, even though their first choice might not be there. We have something there for them, and they're very understanding. We've always had challenges in the north for different reasons with supply chain just being so remote. But this has been nothing like we've ever seen before. So we've had some empty shelves for almost a couple of years now. On and off, or some of it's very consistent in some categories. So yeah, the customers aren't beating us up though. They definitely thank us. So that's nice.
Well, that is nice to hear. What are you learning about leadership?
Leadership is very interesting. I mean, you definitely are challenged, so you have to be very calm. People that get excited about things that are out of their control, for example, won't survive. So, if you're very stable and you're methodical about your approach, you only deal with what you can control instead of what you can't control. Then you're in a good spot. And I said it when we talked a couple of years ago when we were really challenged. We don't feel the same as we did when we'd spoken almost 2 years ago. Now we're very stable. My team is the same, but my goodness, they're resilient. They're strong people and good leaders. All my team.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, here we are in this new normal. We've kind of just had to adapt to this. Yeah. Like we've just normalized this instability. What innovation or adaptation are you most proud of that you or your team has sort of brought forward during the pandemic?
I think that we've modified the business only in the ways that, we try and still serve the customer first. So we're always pushing staff to the front of the store to help customers at the checkout. We're still going to the back room to check for inventory, even though it's quite possible it's not there. Yeah, I'm just proud that we, as a team, we collectively came together and we served our customers. From what we hear from them is that we served them, to their satisfaction, which, it's been so hard. And like I was saying just a couple minutes ago, that when the store is empty or partly empty and your conditions aren't as good as they could be, it's difficult for us to come into work every day and look at that and not have a resolve. It's not going to be better at the end of the day either, but to be able to serve the customer and get the feedback from them that we've done a good job, that there's nothing better than that.
I can only imagine, Mark, my memories of you or thinking about you when I walk into your stores, you're often just there like adjusting things just so, right? Like it's always perfectly lined up, and to see those empty shelves, to not have that inventory in place, like that must be hard to walk into a store and just not see the things the way they should be, perfectly laid out.
Yeah. But if you do it with the items that are there, then you feel better. Like, again, you can only control with what you can control. So we control what's in the store, not what's out of the store. So
it's interesting. I was just doing an interview with Tarek, and one of the comments just recently about, because we've received a lot of disruption just because of climate change and the weather events down south, and
yes.
There was produce in your store, and the only produce in the store was what was being produced locally in the produce shelves, and how excited Yukoners were to see that produce on the shelves. You've always been a supporter of local business. Has that changed, or like local agriculture, or grown in the last couple of years?
Yeah, there's still new vendors coming in the store. I've got a new one coming in today, first delivery. Y-Bar, Yukon Born and Raised, a couple of their products. So that's exciting. I mean, it hasn't slowed down. There's been times, like you say, that it might be the only produce on the shelf, or it might be the only eggs in the dairy. So really, really exciting. It's exciting for the community. It's exciting for the producers, the farmers. It's really pretty awesome, because they've been consistent throughout. If the supply chain has been disrupted down south for whatever reasons, labor, but who knows what reasons we don't have products on the shelf. There's multiple, but our local vendors have been very consistent for us. So it's amazing.
Mm-hmm. We've had a lot of these public health measures that we've all had to adapt to. Which has been the hardest one for you to implement and adapt at the store?
Well, it goes right back to the beginning. I think it was when there were so many unknowns. We came down with social distancing before we came into mandatory masks. So we were lining people up outside, but we didn't have to wear masks yet. And there was different things. Then masks come in, and then customers are not happy wearing masks. Not everybody, even today, is still happy to wear a mask, and I get it, understand it. But those kinds of things that, again, what we control is I control what happens in the store with my staff. It's very difficult to control the general public and what happens with them when they come into the store. So that's been most challenging, because ultimately the goal was to make sure that my staff felt safe, so that they would continue to come to work and serve the community and sell groceries. And that, and I feel like we did accomplish that. But again, because of the nature of the public, that was probably the most difficult thing to control, is the public.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Have you accessed any of the pandemic related supports over the past couple of years to support your employees or your business?
I have, and it's been wonderful to have those supports out there. Even today, we still have people that are not in the business because of needing to isolate, or they've tested positive, and there is support from outside of the store, so that it's not on me or not on the employee to burden that loss of wages. So yeah, I certainly have.
Mm-hmm. So that would be the Yukon, the sick leave benefit?
Yep.
Yeah. Cool.
There was also a wage top up earlier on too, which we did take advantage of as well. Mm-hmm. Which, it was amazing. It was, it was really good. It was good for the staff. They felt, appreciated, not just, they feel appreciated here already, I hope, but they felt appreciated. Like, we're an important business. We're an essential service, and we're running through this, still coming to work. At what risk, we don't really know yet, and so that time it did, because all the measures we weren't settled in yet. So that kind of relief was really good. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Mark, going forward, how are you thinking about your business differently? Where are you seeing opportunity?
Well, the biggest opportunity is put some groceries on the shelf. But the business model, I really like the way that we run. I love the local. I want more local coming in, the way that it always has. I want to provide that customer service. We've evolved into a bit more of an online shop, which we've struggled with, to be honest. I mean, it doesn't feel good when we're not, when the customer feedback is, I'm not satisfied with my order today. You weren't doing the very best job. So we're going to put a lot of focus on that team to try and make sure, because, pandemic or no pandemic, that's still going to grow. That online business is going to grow. So really go after that. Yeah. Other than that, it's just groceries in the back door and sell them out the front. I mean, it's really a basic business. Keep those customers happy. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So you've seen a lot of growth in that online, like the online shopping model, especially. Yeah.
Yeah, it's interesting too, Carrie, that through January, when the Omicron came through here in January, unlike the rest of the country, I kind of think they hit in December or over Christmas holiday. For us, it was into January. We lost quite a few staff. We didn't know what we were walking into every day with that business. So I cut it right back. I cut the amount of orders that could be placed down to about a quarter. And so, and that didn't feel good to do, but just because we weren't serving people well, the order might not even have been ready on the right day. Really unfortunate that customer wants groceries. For example, you're coming in from Haines Junction and you want your groceries picked up at 4:00 today, and they're not ready for you. I mean, that's just, we couldn't have done worse at times. So we're really trying to get that nailed right down and make sure that you're happy and it's ready at 3:00 for you, with nothing missing. If at all possible. So, yeah.
That is a tough one, though, when you don't know which staff are going to be able to show up that day because they've got to, emergency isolate.
Oh yeah, no, that was very difficult. And to triage every day, you come in and are the trucks in and who's here that can receive it? Do we have enough cashiers? Because you don't know your staffing level for the day. That was January, but it didn't feel right to not serve the customer well in the store and serve the customer outside the store better. So we did it at the expense of the online shopper, which is unfortunate, but we feel better about it today and we're going to build on that. And we know what we didn't do well. So it's easy for us to fix.
Mm-hmm. That makes sense. Mm-hmm. Mark, have you picked up any new skills or anything like that to better position yourself?
Well, I like to think I learn a little bit every day. I can't think of anything that really stands out besides being a good communicator. I feel like in times of stress or in times where there's a lot of unknowns, it's really important that the team knows where we're at, what the plan is for the day or for the week, or even for next month. You're planning into Easter now and that kind of thing. So what does that look like? And so I've been trying to be really diligent in holding my regular management meetings and hoping that all the information that comes from those meetings gets rolled out to the teams. One thing I have done, which is interesting, is I have expanded on my management team. There's been a lot of stress in it. And when you're not running at 100% in terms of how you feel you're accomplishing your duties for the day, I felt like my management team needed more support. And they've always had the ability to have seconds in their departments. But I've made sure that everyone has a second. Nobody goes without, and some departments have two. And these are young up and coming people that are our future leaders in the business. So it's developmental for them. It supports the management team that already exists, so they don't overtax themselves. And that structure has worked very, very well as well. It's allowed us to be more stable throughout the week or throughout every day.
That's really interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Mark, the pandemic's been destabilizing for the Yukon economy, for the world economy. What are your hopes for sort of how the economy emerges from this and, how we rebuild the Yukon economy?
Yeah, I really feel bad for the tourism sector. They've had 2 bad years back to back. I'm hoping that this summer looks a little better for them. In 2020, we didn't have a mining season up here to really speak of. It did recover a little bit last year. We saw a bit more going on, a little activity there, which we benefit from. Everyone eats, so yeah, I hope to see that tourism sector grow again. I'd like to see some RVs. I don't want to fight them in the campgrounds, but we got to share a little bit, and everyone that's got a business that was doing well pre-pandemic, I hope that can recover and run, even better than they had in 2019.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Any advice for emerging entrepreneurs?
Yeah, there's so much opportunity out there. I think now that we're very stable and we can kind of see where we're going in the future, I think that there's people should be able to map out a pretty clear path on what they see as an opportunity. So, I would imagine there's a bunch out there. I haven't put a thought into anything in particular, Carrie, but I know if I was a young person starting out and I wanted to go and get after something, I think now would be a good time.
Any aha moments or shifts in the way you're thinking about the world as a result of the pandemic?
Well, the only thing I've done is I think I've aged a couple of years, and that couple of years may have, with health implications or whatever, may have been more than a couple of years. So I look at life now like life's short, and so try and figure out how to have some fun too. It's been very difficult to step back for any amount of time from this business for the last couple of years. There's no working from home. I mean, it's been business as usual for the staff in the store. So let's make sure we take care of ourselves and have time with our families and have time, to get our resets in. And yeah, that's the aha, like, hey, mister, life's short.
Yep. Well, even just you were saying before we signed in, take that 15 minutes to go watch that musher cross the finish line, or there are those little moments, right? The Yukon Quest is coming in today. Yeah.
Yeah.
What's your wellness practice? What's keeping you grounded?
Every Sunday, I try not to come into the store on Sundays, and if I do, it's only to just do a quick check-in in the morning and make sure there's a plan for the day. And then I do a road trip. I've been going for drives, minimum a couple of hours. Last Sunday, I put on 345 kilometers or something. It was just, and for me, so that 3.5 hours out of the house by myself, seeing the country. I mean, I've seen so much wildlife, moose and caribou and elk and beavers, even in or otters or something in the open Tagish River. It's just been amazing to see that, and for me, that's where I get my therapy.
Mm-hmm. Wonderful. Any closing thoughts, Mark, before we sign out for today?
I just want to thank the community for being so supportive, and my staff love to hear that, the thank yous, not beating us up. And if we remind you to please wear a mask, you're putting one on for us, those kinds of things, and not pushing back to us. We've just been trying to enforce the rules that are put in place by others. And people have been really, really good for the most part. I mean, it's been awesome, and we appreciate the kudos. It hasn't been that easy, and it's nice to have that positive feedback, even though we feel like we're not doing quite as good of a job as we could. So I appreciate that a lot.
Oh, well, thank you, Mark. And I know the community really appreciates the work that you guys do.
Yeah, thank you so much, Carrie.
Thanks.
Take care.